Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
It's the political row that just won't go away. Boris Johnson insisted today there is nothing to see or worry about after the electoral watchdog launched an investigation into the renovation of his Downing Street flat. That's not Labour's view. Sir Keir Starmer says the lack of clarity over who paid and when is farcical. There are now 3 investigations into the matter. Here's our political correspondent, Chris Mason.
The apparently simple can sometimes take a while to work out. Boris Johnson was asked again today about his Downing Street flat and who initially paid for its makeover. He was repeatedly dismissive of what he described as a farrago of nonsense.
I don't think there's anything to see here or to worry about. I don't think that this is the number one issue for the people of our country. Indeed, by several orders of magnitude.
The Prime Minister insists he paid what he owed for sprucing up the living quarters here and will declare what he needs to. But he won't say if he borrowed the money and if so, from whom. And all of this is meant to be published. The matter is keeping a lot of people busy. Earlier this week, the country's top civil servant, Simon Case, told MPs he was conducting a review at the request of the Prime Minister into how the refurb was paid for. The Electoral Commission, which regulates the money spent in politics, has launched a formal investigation saying there were reasonable grounds to suspect that an offence or offences may have occurred. It has the power to issue fines or refer matters to the police. And it's the first big job for Lord Geidt, newly appointed as the independent adviser on ministers' interests. He'll examine if the Prime Minister has received any donations he's required to declare. 3 separate inquiries into how the facelift of the famous flat was funded.
I think this is getting a bit farcical. I think the Prime Minister could actually deal with this very, very quickly. All he's got to do is answer a very simple question, which is who paid initially for the redecoration of your flat?
And to furnish his point somewhat, Sir Keir decided to pay a visit to a home improvement shop today. Playing political games, claimed the Conservatives. Lord Geidt, the new independent adviser on ministers' interests, spent 10 years working for the Queen. Labour say he should have more power, such as being able to launch his own investigations and not just do ones asked for by the Prime Minister. He will publish his findings into Boris Johnson, but Mr Johnson has refused to say if he'll abide by those conclusions. There now could be a 4th investigation into what's going on. Labour MPs have asked the Parliamentary Commissioner for Standards to look into it. There is every prospect there are more revelations to come. Chris Mason, BBC News, in Downing Street.
Now, Boris Johnson could be facing yet another inquiry into how he paid for the redecoration of his Downing Street flat after a senior Labour MP submitted a complaint to the Parliamentary Standards Commissioner. And the Labour leader, Sir Keir Starmer, sought to remind voters that the refurb was reportedly to replace Theresa May's, quotes, John Lewis nightmare, soft furnishings, and with a visit to the wallpaper department in Manchester's John Lewis store. But the Prime Minister has been quick to claim he's a fan of the shop and again insisted that there was nothing for the public to see in the row.
If there's one thing I object to in this whole farrago of nonsense, is to have anything. I love John Lewis, but what I will say, is that I think that the
what do you love about John Lewis?
I think that what people want this government to do is focus on their priorities.
Now, the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, has been told by a judge that he must release more information about the way personal protective equipment contracts were awarded during the pandemic. The ruling came in a case being pursued by the Good Law Project, who today also revealed that the names of 4 companies, they say, won their contracts through a fast-track VIP lane. Helia Ebrahimi, our economics correspondent, joins us now. Helia.
Well, tonight we've got more allegations about lucrative Tory connections and government deals with mega payouts. The government was in court defending its £15 billion of PPE expenditure amid accusations of sweetheart deals and cosy political connections. Today, we saw a Cabinet Office audit with 6 company names on the controversial VIP lane. This was a fast-track service for friends of ministers and officials. We knew 47 companies were on the high priority lane, with Iunda and Pesfix already flagged. But today, court papers show 4 more VIP names. P14 Medical, whose director was a Conservative councillor who bought a £1.5 million house shortly after the deal. Mela Designs, which is linked to the former Conservative Party chairman, Lord Feldman. Clandy Boy, a confectionery company that managed to wrangle £108 million of PPE business with an unnamed MP attached, and Lux Lifestyle, which is connected to Iunda and won a £26 million contract but seems to be insolvent. Earlier, I spoke to the owner of P14 Medical, who rejected the VIP claims, telling us he knew nothing of it despite the government documents. He also said it was his US business that formed the foundation of his wealth. In court, the government said the entire case was a fishing exercise. And it is important to remember that at the height of the crisis, global demand for PPE outweighed supply by a factor of 10 to 1. But there are serious questions at the heart of this case, not just about transparency and the risk of cronyism, but about the value for money and how effective the government process was. Disclosed emails show civil servants spent 3 times as long dealing with VIP companies, and one says VIP escalation is obstructing progress on more viable opportunities. The Good Law Project says 5 out of 9 of the contracts it's examined, worth an astonishing £650 million, ended up proving unfit for purpose in the NHS, though the companies themselves say this is down to the Department for Health, not them. The court has now ordered the government to make further disclosures, including WhatsApp messages to chief executives on the VIP lane.
For Helia Ebrahimi.